truthfully don't know how to answer that.
You know,
My apologies to everybody on YouTube. For some reason, I was having some hard times, but we were located on Facebook. Ooh, look at that, Chris. I'm sorry. Freedom. Did you read the back of it? Freedom. Navy Academy right here representing. Damn right. I didn't go, but I still rep it. All right. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry for that. I do extend my apologies to YouTube, not to you on Facebook, not anybody on Facebook. So listen, one of the biggest things that you just basically said were the individuals that came, a bunch of illegals there, right? And that's one of our discussion is for the people that just got on YouTube. We're just discussing about the Michelle Wu stuff that's going on, how upset she is. I got a question for you, Chris. Once again, I'm going to go to my notes here. My notes. The Bodazar, Tom Homan, right? Has been making waves, saying he promised to bring hell to Boston, and he's not messing around. Just last week, they had 6-day operation led by ICE, correct? 6-day led by ICE, operation led by ICE and other federal agencies. They arrested folks connected to the MS-13. Who's MS-13, Chris?
It's a bad gang.
Very bad gang, right, Chris?
Very bad
boys. Very bad boys. And they seized drugs and firearms. I mean, come on, Chris. How can we let violent criminals roam our streets under the guise of sanctuary policies? So one of my biggest things is and I understand this, and one of the interesting comment was, I would like to say it was from you, saying you have to take a few casualties, right? Don't think in war, don't think in the department, don't think on the streets. Sometimes there's got to be a few casualties. There's got to be some things that occur and happen. Do we feel good about those things that happen? No, obviously we don't. But if the repercussion shows that we just got rid of 300 bad gang people and 3 people that, got deported in the mix, I look at it this way. It's still a violation that you're illegally here.
Absolutely.
So now guess what? If you were here and you had some substance and had a job and had everything, you could probably, once again, this is just my way of thinking, that I go to the embassy and I say, hey, listen, I was there illegally in the United States, but these are the jobs I had. These are the people, and this is the relationships I have. Would that work to your extent, do you believe? Like,
you'd have to go through the application process. You'd have to follow the rules as they're set up. You'd have to go through the application process. Having a job would help and stuff like that, and having a support system. It's all about having a support system here, but you'd still have to go through this, the application. It may take 6 months. It may take a year, but that's the only way you're going to get here legally. And granted, we're going after, let's call them the big fish, the drug dealers and stuff like that, the collateral damage, like the other people who may not be as bad or bad at all. But like you said, the fact still remains. They are here illegally.
So I always remember this adage when we used to hang out when we were younger, and you come from an Italian family. I came from a Cape Verdean Portuguese family. And I always remember this. You are who you hang out with. So in my head, if I'm living somewhere where I know there's gang activity, and I know there's weapons, and I know there's drug dealers, and I personally know I'm not legal, I hate to say it, somehow, some way, I'm going to find my way out of there. I'm going to say, this isn't the city I need to live in. I will find another sanctuary city and move forward. Why don't you think people are doing that?
There's not that many sanctuary cities.
Really?
Could
you tell me the sanctuary cities?
I had to list them before. I believe there's 12 in Massachusetts. I think.
You know what? Let's pull one of my favorite guys, Ben Shapiro. He looks on his YouTube. I look on my iPhone.
Google sanctuary cities in Massachusetts. I believe there's a dozen of them. I had them for a prior conversation. But hey, if you're in a bad area and you're a bad city, doesn't mean you're going to grow up bad. I mean, you can choose to stay away. You can choose, you can be surrounded by criminal activity. You don't have to participate in it. So you don't really have to move. You just have to, stay away from it. I think we all had friends who broke the law and did bad things, but when you saw things going bad, you just don't participate.
You don't. So hold on. Let's name them off.
I think there's some nice like Concord and Newton.
Massachusetts, and I'm wrong. So far, so what I see, Massachusetts has 8 cities that are considered sanctuary cities. First one, Chris.
Would be Boston,
Boom.
Newton.
No.
Concord?
Boston. No.
Good.
We're going Amherst.
Okay.
We're going Boston.
Yeah.
We're going Cambridge.
Yeah.
We're
Makes
going
sense.
Chelsea.
Yeah.
We're going
Wow.
Concord.
I see Concord was there.
Oh, and Newton's there.
Yeah.
Newton,
See?
you're right. You're right. My
Hey.
bag. All right.
Those are big money towns.
Northampton
Oh, yeah.
and Somerville.
Yeah.
No offense to Lynn. I just figured you were on there. All right. I figured Lynn would be an incredible sanctuary city.
Yeah.
Right? Right on the water.
Look what's happened in Chelsea school system.
I heard a story about that.
Yeah.
I heard that nobody showed up for school because they were scared ICE was going to go there and raid them. But I heard it was 90% of the population, and I think that's an over exaggeration. But
It could
you
be.
know,
and that's just ridiculous. That's just like that's the parent putting unnecessary fear. And
is it the parent or is it the teacher? Because I've been hearing teachers have been backing up,
I mean,
threatening law enforcement. You come into my school, you won't find them, and you ain't getting through me. Like, come on, how do you role play something like that? You're an authoritative too.
they're just trying to get their name on TV. But I think it's the parents, because it's the parents not sending the kid to school. You know, if the parents sent the kid to school and the kid skipped school, that's one thing. I think it's the parent, and we all know that's not going to happen. It's it's kind of like when I'd be walking around sometimes in uniform or something like that, and this mother would her 2-year-old would be being bad, and she'd say, she'd like point to him and say, you be good or he's going to come over and arrest you, right?
Yeah.
So she's using me for that, but what is she doing? She's making the kid fear the cops for no reason. So the kid fears the cops. I'm not doing anything. The kid's not doing anything. The mother's trying to use me to get her kid to be better, and instead of just doing it herself. So she's getting the fear of the cops. So now the kid runs away, or the kid gets lost or something like that. And I'm sitting there, I'm looking for the kid with my dog, or I'm looking for the kid. We're doing a search looking for the kid. Kid's not going to come out because he's afraid of the cops.
Yeah.
Because his mother said, he ran away. So he knows he's bad. Cops get me. They're going to punish me, put me in jail. Parents will say that. I'll put you, he's going to put you in jail. He's 2 years old.
No, and I do understand that,
So.
because I've heard some people, just me myself, where I've gone somewhere and hung out or whatever, like gone sat somewhere, and I would hear, like after you drive by, I would see the little kid give you the fingers from behind, and it's like, where's this mentality brought up for? And I always like this phrase, and if you're talking about like people leading people to beliefs, I read something many, many, many years ago, and it was with pictures, and it showed a bunch of children playing on the beach, all different variants of children, African American children's, Caucasian children's, Asian children's. All these people were playing, and you saw no one hating, no one anything. So I do believe a situational fact is when something's implied to you, you tend to follow it. So meaning like racism and hatred, I think it isn't something, obviously we all know you're not born to hate somebody. And I believe from your outside individuals you associate with, that develops within you. And it's a shame that's where we are now in today's society, where this isn't the 1800s. This isn't like everyone is one. Everyone's got a friend of any different nationality or race. So it's a shame that we still have this much racism in this day and age.
It's handed down from the parents, and that's really the only way you're going to stop it.
Listen, I can tell you one thing. There's absolutely no racism in my family. We don't care what you are or who you are. As long as you respect us and we respect you, then we're all good. But one of the things I came across also was the U.S. Attorney Leah Foley, who's saying we can't tolerate those who break our laws and endanger our communities. Who's got to face the facts, right? All over it about it. It's like Leah's just upset about it. Says Boston ain't just a sanctuary for criminals. We can't turn blind eyes while people with serious criminal backgrounds walk free. Now, I get it. I absolutely get it. Protecting the innocent is important, but we can't ignore the reality of situations. We need to strike balance. Chris, what do you think is the right way going forward? Obviously, we're developing this line between communities, and one person will say, well, they arrested 6 people that were okay, and then okay, they arrested 6 people that are okay, but you're still lost, they're still illegal, but yet they busted 23 gang members that were here for serious offenses. So how do we, like, especially you, 26 years in law enforcement, Mass State Police, because I always think, I don't know why, but in my head it was just the way I was born and thinking. I always thought state police was above everything because you guys can go everywhere. You guys can control that scene. Obviously, I manifested that in my head. Obviously, we both know you can't do as much, but you do have a broader places to go through towns and cities and highways. So in my head, I always look at them to be bigger than anybody else. So how would you, if you were in this position and you were the head of ICE, how would you devise a plan? Like, what would be the concept? Like, how would you look at it?
Well, I mean, the way that they're going now, is fine. They're going after the bigger fish, and which people, frankly, let's be honest, that people should or shouldn't complain about being gone first. So they're going after the drug dealers, the guys with the records, and everything else. It's unfeasible and they can't do it. But frankly, I'm sorry, but if you're here illegally, you should all be gone.
So let's take, for instance,
you should do
but
it
hold
right.
on, and I understand what you're saying. They all should be gone. But let me play the devil advocate. What if it's your parents that have been here, that now you've been here, and now you've gone to school, but now all of a sudden, because this plan happened, and you're 25 years old, now you all have to get deported?
Well, depends on if I was born here or not, and that's a whole other separate issue.
But you were born here. Your family had you here, but they were both illegal.
Right. Well, unfortunately, they would have to go and probably reapply. I mean, you can't, idealistically, yes, let's get rid of the worst of the worst. If we get rid of the worst of the worst and then work our way through. But I mean, idealistically, how do I allow you to stay but not allow you to stay? It's got to be.
I agree.
It's got to be fair. It's unfortunate, but it's got to be fair. And you chose to come here when you knew you weren't. But it's got to be fair. I can't say, "Oh, I like you and you can stay, but I don't like you and you can't stay."
Oh.
You got 2 good working people. But if let's also keep in mind, if they don't have Social Security cards or Social Security numbers, which I don't think they do, they're not paying into the system like everybody else.
So that was going to be my next thing. I think I'm going to collaborate with you on that, and I totally agree with you. I feel, and I hate to see it, that if my mother had me here and my mother was illegal, then I hate to say it, she's going to have to be deported. But guess what? I'm going to be here and she's going to live the best life she is there, and I'm going to fight to get her here. So I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get my mother back here legally. But also, I understand they fought the fight to come over. And yeah, they probably came over with some criminals, not saying my family, but saying the individuals that are happened that crossed the border and they were with some bad people. The sad part is you cross that border, that if you cross that border with them, then you're going to be selected to go also. You know what I mean? And people are talking about how it impacts us with the fruits and this and that. Every time I hear this, I automatically, and this is me speaking, I automatically think of slavery, because you're telling me that we're taking people, for instance, from Mexico to come here to do work that we're too lazy to produce or do ourselves. I don't know about you, but I remember when we were little, we're being handed shovels to go shovel in 1978 snow. And our parents are like, I don't care, you're 6. Get out there and shovel. In my head, I'm watching all these people. Are they that, what's that word that they use now? I can't even think of it. Where it's soft. We're softening our society. But there's a word for it. I can't think of it.
Soft.
But I'm seeing people that are fighting to have immigrants here to do lower cost jobs. And they're saying, but you don't understand. because we won't do it. If we have them produce that for us, our economy will go up. And I'm like, but they're making $5 an hour even here. And I said, that's wrong. And then what's even more wrong is you just pointed it out. They're not paying into the Social Security. They're not paying into all these things. So now if that's not happening, how doesn't that collapse the society? Because now the money I made or the money you made, we're never going to see in later times because our money's being spent to pay off everybody else that doesn't have it.
Right. I mean, and they're coming here. Some of them are coming here and they're getting Social Security benefits, which is another subject in and of itself and just mind-boggling. But I mean, we had an incident, it's probably like 4 years ago. My wife wanted some of her cousin's daughter to come here for a year, 6 months, a year, to do, go to high school here with my daughter because they get along. She's a good girl. And we tried, and it was just like hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. Because I was like, yeah, great, have her come here. And we couldn't get her here to come here for a semester just so she could have school here, experience it, and get immersed in the language and stuff like that. And it was very, very difficult. And I was just like, why don't we just have her come? And,
so, but look,
yeah.
So now you just said it because you had so much difficulties through the embassy and through wherever the rights you have to do. You were all like, forget it, just have her fly in and just come.
Yeah.
So now you were contributing to illegal status.
She didn't come. She didn't.
But you stated, why doesn't she just come? So you would have housed her there illegally.
Yeah. Well, because temporarily.
Okay, but you can't go both sides of the fence.
Because everybody
you can't go
does.
both sides.
I know, but
no, Chris. Should we do what our parents say? If you jump off that bridge because Junior did it, you gotta follow him.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. No. See, I hate to say it. It's I have family from Cape Verde. They came here illegal. You gotta go. Yeah. You gotta go. There is no way about it. And trust me, if I love you to death and my family loves you to death, we're gonna get you here. We're gonna get you here. So that's interesting, Chris, and everybody witnessed it here on YouTube. It's Chris pulled back. Chris, what the hell, folks?
She would be supported.
What the hell, Chris? Oh, Chris came back.
Suck on the system.
Oh man. So hold on. Wait. So what do you all think? Out there, that if Chris just said to you one thing and then role played back and said, well, I would have hid my wife's family member after he said everyone should be shipped out. Oh, so you heard it live.
She's only coming here for 4 months. Hey, you want to come here for 4 months?
4 months.
Yeah.
For 4 months, you can get a $9.95 for.
That's a semester.
Yeah, but you can get it 4 months. Yeah. It's impossible to get shut down for 4 months.
Well, they didn't even, truth be told, they didn't even get past the high school level, which,
Oh,
whatever.
Well, okay.
Whatever. All right. So stepping back to that, I think there was I can't remember the company that owned it, but like 7 hospitals that went out of business.
Yeah.
I was in the news recently, and nobody's explored the fact of why 7 hospitals went out of business. Were they poorly run? Were this? Were that? Or do they have an amazing amount of people coming in, getting service, and not paying their bill?
Well, that's interesting because I wish my wife was on Dr. Winnie Wong because she's attached to all that. Even though she owns her own practices, she knows a bunch of doctors and medical people that work there. And I don't believe it was any of that. I believed, and don't quote me on this, but we can touch back with it. I just think it was poor management of most your procreated funds. I think the upper salons were stealing money.
Well, yeah, but no, I've heard nothing about embezzlement. But think about it. If you're a community hospital, you can't say no to anybody.
No.
So thousands and thousands and thousands of people coming in and getting free, whether it's ER, whether it's a surgery or whatever it is, and they're not paying their bill. There's no repercussion because they don't have a Social Security number. They can't say no. And it doesn't, even if you did, it doesn't affect your credit. So, I mean, if you have thousands of people running up tens of thousands of bills each, that's going to certainly lead to a hospital's demise. I mean, You must know. So I'm going in for a quick little surgery on Monday, and
we can't discuss that. But Chris has been embarrassed of his manhood since he was born.
No, All right, Shop. All right, Shop.
It's all good. Sometimes you got to stay out of the rain.
All right. So it's just kidney stones. But anyway, you've seen the thing, right? You go in. And I got my daughter who goes to the hospital a lot and stuff like that because she's got allergies and shit. but individual copay,
Yeah.
family copay. When I go see that doctor, it's a $60 for the freaking visit.
I just had to do 200 for a hot thing.
I remember when it was 5.
Yeah,
You
5
know,
and 10.
I mean, I've met all my deductibles because they renew in a couple of months, and I called the place and they're like, "Yeah, it'll be $701 when you walk in the door,
Yeah.
and we want the money the day before." It's like for what? Well, 250 for this,
That was
200
going
for
to be
that.
another conversation, but we were going to have some medical people on
Oh,
to discuss how it affects both ends of it all.
yeah.
You know, but that one will be very interesting also, because that was going to drive some people with a lot of questions. But are we really keeping our cities with these policies on both ends of it? So Michelle Wu's got this policy where we're not going to adhere to anything that President Trump says. We're not going to be listening to the czar. We're not going to be rerun it here. We're Bostonians. We run our own city and town. I'm kind of confused because I'm hearing her chirp, but yet I'm seeing them come in and do what they do and then leave. And then I don't see any effect from her or any like let me help you. So wouldn't you think that they should conjoin together and figure this out?
In the roundup or in the
I believe it's not only about the roundup.
Yeah.
I think, like it or not, it's almost like the gun buyback program that they have. You bring me a gun, I'm not questioning it. We're taking it. We're whatever, you go on. I think you devise a plan like that. I think personally, what you do is this: you have illegal immigrants that are here, right? So now you develop something, because the goal is not to kick out the ones that are basically doing the right things, right?
Mhm.
Our goal is to kick out the people that are doing the wrong things. So I don't care. I remember this when I was younger: snitches get stitches, or snitches are bitches, or yeah, whatever. I have a moron living beside my mother's house that's a gun killer or a drug dealer. You're damn right. I'm not going to handle it, because obviously you're in a position where you don't care about your life. I will go and make sure that you're away from my family to cause harm. So why not develop a policy or a protocol that actually attaches to that, saying, hey, listen, you're living in this community, you're illegal. We will help you get your status. We almost like a coupon to get you, to help you, because you're doing all the right things. Even though you're illegal, you've been doing all the right things. Help us get these illegals out of here. Develop some sort of policy. I don't know. I'm not articulate when it comes to understanding government policies and what they do and why they do some of the things. Because in my head is, why didn't they just go left? Instead, they went straight. That made no sense to me. And in this, it seems like, the president's making statements of, we're only going after the bad people, all the illegals that came here, the rapists, the murderers, the drug dealers, and all these people. And you're so focused on that sometimes we do scoop up the wrong people that are here to better us, to help the community. They're there because I'll always say, oh my God, they were so nice. They took care of the yard. They always went to work. That's shameful that you lose people like that. It is, illegal or not. And I'll agree with that, right, with myself. But why not design a program to help them get status? Okay. For instance, and I don't remember what it was called, but I remember Trump is trying to come up with this new thing where you could buy your citizenship for the wealthy, and you pay $25 million to come here and you get citizen status and this and that. And I guess it goes out to big corporations to open businesses there to help the growth. I forget what it was called. Why not design something like that for the illegals?
I mean, again, we do take this hard stance on it, you and me, and I do agree that if we have good people, it'd be nice to have good people stay. It would. Part of the problem, and I don't agree with it. I agree with what you said, but part of the problem is that it's so many, and it would be hard to implement something like that. It would.
No, but I love that you just said there's so many. There are so many. There are so many that have been here 10 to 15 to 20 years that have paid into this community. Those are the people I'm talking about.
Right.
I'm not talking about newly people. I'm talking about people that have been here. Those people that you hear oh my God, I've lived beside them 10 years and they picked them up. Those people, I think you should have a time limit on there, not somebody that just came in last week or somebody last month or somebody a year. You know what I mean? You're talking about people that are viable to the system, people that are important to the system. And I'm not saying everybody's not important that come here, that just here, but the crime level has floored up. And I'd even hate to tell you, there's even been disease levels that now, diseases I've never even heard of, that they're saying that are coming because, and once again, this is my analogy of it, is I think because us as Americans, we wash so much. So we kill bacteria that our body needs. You have other people in other countries that will sink bathe and bathe once a week, and they have a stronger immunity because they have the cells or microns or whatever they're called that kill the diseases. So now we're having them come here, and now we're mixing in, and now we're getting diseases because our body's not strong enough to handle those. So in my head, I don't know where I was going with the conversation, but it just went off the rails. But I'm just saying that you have people that have been here in society. You've had people that have given back. I'm not talking about newly people. I'm talking about people that have been here. You know what I mean? That I think there should be a plan to get them to stay here.
All right, two things. I think what he's saying is that we should all shower once a week.
Once a week?
Yeah.
Hell no.
You know, and then
Hell
well,
no.
you just said it. We'll be stronger. We'll have
Well,
stronger.
known fact, bro.
Yeah.
Known fact. All synthetic products, which we're going to talk about soon. Just we're built to die. It seems like lately we're willing to wear anything and put anything without knowing what the manufacturer is or anything. Next thing you know, you're buying a cream, a steroid cream off your doctor because you're putting it on the skin instead of not wearing that clothes, but because that clothes is fashionable, you want to wear it. So there's so much we can get into.
So on your second item, yeah, no, I agree. It would be let's talk. You know, it'd be tough to implement, but let's talk fantasy. It would be have people who are here, have them be able to go on to some federal website, put their information in, put everybody who lives in the family, say, I work for here, I work for this, I work for that. And again, I have no problem with people coming here legally. But and what I think the caveat that they should put on it is that, for example, you know, you can't collect any SSI benefits, food stamps, et cetera, EBT for 10 years, you know, or something.
See, in my head, not to cut you off, keep your thought. I was just thinking they develop their own. That once you come in here and you're from another company, you don't get enrolled to what we are as an Americans in here that have basically done it. That now they design a new one for them in SSI for them. In my head, I don't.
Yeah, but they shouldn't get anything because they haven't done anything.
I know, but I'm saying they would have their own. They wouldn't be combined with ours.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like something like, you know, whatever, a 10-year waiting period, just throwing that out there so that, you know, you can provide and pay because, you know what, I hate paying for your taxes. You know, I don't think anybody likes paying taxes.
Listen, dude,
you know,
I praise the people that work there because they put up with so much of my crap and they've been great with me. But I feel bad that they have to do that job.
But there's also a reason why our taxes are so high and stuff like that. And part of that goes to SSI. And, you know, when we collect Social Security, we want it to be there because we paid into it forever.
Yeah.
You know,
so I think we're going to wrap up that section, but I wanted to just say something. The other day came across, right? And what the hell, man, in plain English, I was just going through the stuff because, you know, we just, you know, we do our Boston Babble here. We do what we got to do. That's why you guys got to go and follow us on @Security Tales on YouTube, @Security Tales on YouTube. Hit that bell for us. So did you see this? A former Stoughton, right? Former Stoughton Department waterwork guy. Did you see this?
No, keep going.
Robert J. Bullock, Sr., right? I'm going to say his age because I wonder if as we get older, do we get stupider? You know what I mean? So he's age 60 from Brockton. He just pled guilty to messing around with Stoughton's drinking water supply.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, seriously. Like, and I started reading this because I'm like, why would you mess with public city water? You know what I mean? I just didn't get it. It says this guy, he went into the pumping station on November 29, 2022, right? And actually turned off the pump that puts chlorine in the water, right? Can you believe that? As a result, they were serving up some not so clean water to the folks of Stoughton. Like in my head, as I'm reading that, I'm like, at the age of 60 years old, come up with an idea of shutting off the chlorine, which purifies the water that you drink, right? And I know it's a question on everybody's mind is like, why the heck would this idiot do that? And maybe he thought it was a new way to get the town to drink more natural water. Like, seriously, come on. Like, it's not like a hippie place. It's not, no offense to hippies, but I don't understand that.
Well, we don't know, but I think you're right with your guess, because that would be my guess, that he's one of those, let's call him, hippie, earthy, crunchy, whatever you want to call it, that thinks, all chemicals are bad, chlorine's bad, this is bad, everything is bad. So I don't think he was trying to quote unquote poison people. I think he was thinking that, chlorine's bad, we shouldn't be drinking water, and I'm shutting up. It's like, dude, there's people who argue over fluoride in the water. I mean, it's fluoride, and they say that's bad for you.
Chris, I'm like sitting here and I couldn't let go of this story because I was like, wait a minute, I got to deep search this. So tampering with the water, right? They're saying it's possibility of landing them 20 years sentence, right? 20 years in the slammer, right? 3 years of supervised release. And guess how much money, bro? At 60 years old, you've busted your ass working since 1650.
More than I'll ever pay. $5 million.
No, 250,000.
Oh, okay.
But I just thought that was a lot of money in my head. And I'm like, 250 grand. His sentences is June 25th, 2025. I am not going to stop this because I want to see how this plays out. And this whole thing is being handled by the U.S. attorney. Guess who again? Leah B. Foley. So let's see where that goes. And she's the special agent in charge with Jody Cohen. So along the EPA and the bigs ups in Massachusetts State Police and local cops for Stoughton and Brockton for their help assisting with the attorney. So I researched to see who did the whole investigation. It was all you guys. So that's great. Now, on the sad part of this is, and we said it, and I said it the other day, was the Delgados, State Trooper Delgado that passed away. So we use that term lightly. That's no longer with us. And God bless him and his family. May he rest in peace, and thank you for his service. And I know you've been really researching it. And anything back?
No, it's just nobody seems to know anything. And I don't know what I hope the family knows more than we know. Maybe they know stuff that we don't know, which is kind of like the end goal anyway. But I don't. It's inconceivable how you don't know when there was, like I said, 30 witnesses and everything else. It's really not that difficult.
It's a shame that we spoke about this, and then it came to what we believe to fruition, where they brought it up the next day. And it was almost like that momentum of it moving forward. And then all of a sudden, as you think you're getting up some answers, and it's not because you're like, oh my God, I just want to be nosy. No, it's because you care, because we do have friends and families now. Their kids are getting ready to be in Mass State Police or local police department. We do have a vast of association, but it's also that we want to know they're safe, and knowing that something's moving forward on it, and us not knowing where this goes to and where the responsibility lies leads us nowhere, and it's shameful that this is something that we believed was moving forward. Now all of a sudden it's died out again.
Yeah. Well, it's shameful. It comes up in the news, and then one day, and then it disappears for 3 months. Then one day, and then, but nobody in power, I guess, wants to take on the challenge or take on that as, one of their goals. It's like it's like anything. People say they care, but they care for the moment, they care for the camera, and then after they just move on.
It's weird you said that, because one of my first thoughts that I just envisioned was, it's shameful to see that you have so many people carrying phones and recording the situation instead of helping the situation or notifying the police department, but it's bigger value to film it so you can make money to upload it into a system than it is to come out to tell the truth about something that wrongfully happened to an individual. Meaning there couldn't have been one eye when this situation happened. There was other troopers that were on the job. There were other people that worked there that were on the job. There were people with the medical attentions that had this. I think that they should come out and start speaking.
I'm guessing, just as a ballpark, there had to be 30 witnesses.
And none of them.
Yeah.
And usually you would hear someone speak, and I could understand it's the fear of losing your job.
Well, and that's
but someone lost their life.
Yeah, they wouldn't lose their job because if you spoke up, if you knew something, you spoke up. I mean, you'd be really protected. There's zero chance you'd lose your job. But there's at least 30 witnesses, probably a lot more, because they do it by platoon. I mean, and I know you box and stuff, but the unfortunate, I still believe in the program. I still think the program's good. Maybe it should have a lot more training because, you know what, you got like 30, 50, 60 people yelling and screaming around you. Me and you get into the ring and we don't have any real boxing skills. What are we going to do? We're just going to try to freaking take each other's heads off with no,
that's fact. But, the sad part is, you know what? And I was blessed to have Orlando Mafucci with us the other day, who is a professional boxer and fighter and incredible individual. And you know him personally too, because we used to fly to Vegas together. But one of the things is a true fighter has camaraderie with another one. It's obviously when you're in there, the intent's to win, not to harm. If you go in and you focus to cause damage to someone to say, I'm going to break this guy up, then you should get out of the sport because you're a villain. You're someone that desecrates the sport in its own. It's needless to say that you're in this academy together, and it's designed that all of you fall together and understand there's one brotherhood, meaning that you guys are there all the time for each other. And it's like the soldiers. One drops, you run, one runs back, picks them up, and the other one's covers their flank to make sure nothing occurs that happened. No one did that for him that day. You could tell, because I can answer that for you truthfully, because he's passed. That if they did, this gentleman wouldn't have passed. You know what I mean? So it's shameful to see so many people that witness this have the ability to go on with their daily lives and look in their family's eyes and eat their meals and enjoy their life at this time, only knowing they witnessed something that none of them are saying anything about. That's how I look at things.
No, it's true. It's even like, I don't know if you've ever had, I've had several people on the job, kill themselves. And it's like, everybody's like, after the fact, it's like, oh, damn, if I only knew, if I only knew, I would have done something. But I'm like,
you always say that.
But would you? Because you know what? You know if your friend's up and down, if something's bothering him, when he says, I'm all right, he's not all right. So you kind of know, you're just like, hey, are you all right? Yeah, I'm fine. Well, you seem really.
I just did that to Chris today. Yeah. I go, what's up, bro? You're off. Something up?
Yeah. No, I mean, I had a friend that was talking to him on the phone, and it just didn't sound right. Fellow trooper, and he lived like an hour and a half away. I still remember it was a snowstorm. I couldn't even get up his driveway in my car. And it's just like, I just talked to him, and you could tell something was wrong. So I just friggin' told my wife, I'm like, I'm going to visit, and I'm out of here. I'll be back in a couple hours. And, I drove up to his house, and, the house was all dark, and I knocked on the door, and, could something? I don't know. But, you know when people aren't right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that should be a great topic either. Also is life after retirement in law enforcement, or life in law enforcement and dealing with all the situations that you guys have to bring home and have to shut off when you're there with your family. I think that would be a great thing. I know personally, and obviously I don't discuss it, but I think since we have this podcast at times, maybe we should. I remember when I had something drastically happen. You were in my life then. The first thing happened is, obviously I got shot in the head, and I survived a gunshot to the head. And I love the stories that I heard about me. I love the stories that I was a gang member. I love stories saying I was a drug dealer. I love the stories of saying it was a hit put out on me. I loved all these stories because the sad part is we know the true story. You hung out with me back then. We were kids, and none of that was true. It was literally wrong place, wrong time, and it was because the people I loved was surrounded me was a plain idiot that I've never seen, never even came across. Happened to be in the wrong place, wrong time, which is we were in front of my family's house, and it came out. I threw one of my friends over. I covered my other cousin, threw him through a door, and I ended up being hit by it. And there was no exchange. There was nothing. There was something that I felt I needed to do because I didn't believe I would get hurt, and I got hurt. But it's sad to say that since that happened, and I was a young age, I went through so much depression. And I always kept it quiet because I was always laughing, always fun, and I had people like you. We'd all go out, we'd hang out, we'd have a great time. But then I didn't realize I was developing a substance problem, and that was alcohol. And I realized I was never so happy until I drank. And we would do stupid things. We'd get up the next day, we'd role play, and laugh about it. And then when I'm by myself alone, it was the scariest part for me because I started thinking other thoughts because this scumbag of the earth impacted my life so much because I saw myself getting on state police, saw myself having this mansion and doing all these things. Instead, I had to go through 3.5 years of reliving my life, rewalking, rethinking, head surgery, all the things, and close friends like you and everybody that were all there for me through my times. I could never understand the depression part until I started meeting other people that were in law enforcement. Kid Bob, we both knew, shot and killed himself. He was a great guy over a job. You know what I mean? And the amount of people we've known that we've came in with that deal with heavy depressions and things. So I think that would be a great conversation that we should discuss, and how it impacts after retirement, and how when you don't have the right people that surround you, you don't realize what depression's really about. Well, anything you want to say?
Nope.
Let me
That was pretty good.
let me look at
Maybe,
Facebook.
Yeah.
No, nobody commented
No
today.
comments.
Ray's watching though. Ray has a comment. Ray has an enlarged prostate. He has issues. Hey everyone, thank you so much. But once again, please subscribe to @Security Tales, and it's on YouTube. Please, we're on every Thursday unless I let you know. Sometimes later than the others.
Ampersigns
Is it an ampersand?
I believe it's called an ampersand.
I didn't think it was an ampersand. If anybody wants to argue with that, put it in for the next post. Thank you so much. God bless all of you and have a blessed one. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Tommy Titus is watching. Thank you, Tommy. At least you comment, Tommy. Other people tell me, well, geez, Felipe, if I comment, you never answer. Tommy Titus, let me tell you a story about Tommy Titus really fast. Tommy Titus, I was blessed with. Let's just say I didn't last too long in Walpole Prison. I lasted approximately I think it was 8 years. I had a problem of never keeping my hands in my pocket. And it doesn't mean pulling things out. It means I kept making these things called a fist. And, whatever. It led me to being transferred up. So I meet Tommy Titus. Tommy Titus is a big power lifter guy. And Tommy says, hey, Felipe, do you like eggs? I says, love eggs. I go, protein, my brother, protein. Tommy goes in the kitchen. Now that Tommy's retired and I'm no longer with the department, Tommy went in the kitchen. And if I'm telling you, there's no word of a lie to this, he grabbed 5 dozen eggs and started grilling them on this grill. And he's like, how many eggs you want? I go, I don't know, I'll do 8. He goes, 8. You can't get big eating 8. Starts mixing all these eggs up. And then we're eating. Then Tommy tells me we need to get the protein in because we got to go do a round. Now, needless to say, we're working at a place called Northeastern Correctional Center, which is like, you know what? It's a condo for convicts and inmates. It's a beautiful place. It's a farm. You can walk off. You can do whatever. I couldn't believe it was a prison. Tommy says, we're going to go cow tipping. There's cows there. Tommy gets up over the fence. Nah, we don't even go cow tipping. Tommy goes to run and lands in a pile of shit. Gets up and goes, run. And I go, why are we running? He goes, there's a bull. That's my first story about Tommy and working with Tommy. I got mad love for him. He retired from the department, and now he's a park ranger in, I forget where, Tommy, but definitely love to get you on a Zoom call so we can tell some stories. But be blessed, everyone. Mad love to everyone. God bless.